Once upon a time, there was a day in heaven when Father was going to create one of the most precious things he had ever made. He thoughtfully pondered what special materials he would use to create with. Yes, even his private reserve, the best of what he had to use, would be made available for that glorious day. Jesus and Holy Spirit also had amazing ideas to offer, and Father was pleased at their ideas and agreed. After careful planning, much thought, and deep emotion put into design, it was finally time. He invited all of heaven and the angels and all creatures to be a part of this amazing day, a day of all days that all would never forget. Before Father started, he wanted to make a speech to commemorate this very special day.
Family, my heart is so full today, full of excitement, full of emotion. And as I know this is the beginning of a most historical time for heaven and also for the earth, today I will make the most amazing masterpiece I've ever created thus far.
For all of heaven knew, every time Father created something, it was always better than before. That's all he knows to do. He always outdoes himself every time. All of heaven stood in quiet excitement, waiting for Father to create. So quiet, you could hear an angel feather drop. Father reached into his gold bag and pulled out what looked like a rainbow of substance and held it in both of his hands. Just then, the heavens began to shake. Lightning and thunder were present as Father stood up from his throne. And all of heaven began shouting and singing, "He is good, and all he does is good." For all the things you do in heaven and on the earth, for all the things you do in heaven and on the earth, for all the things you do in heaven and for the earth, for all the things you do in heaven and for the earth. You've done so many wondrous things, oh God, we cannot deny. Everywhere we turn, we see your goodness. I've seen it with my own eyes. Oh, and every time you come my way, you shine your glory all around me. And Lord, I ask the question, how did you first love me? Oh, Father looked at the substance in his hands, smiled, closed his eyes, and took a deep breath, and he blew in them and declared, saying,
You possess the image and likeness of me. Now they have become yours to discover and explore.
All of heaven understood, but knew it would take the creation some time to comprehend this. Then a rushing mighty whirlwind appeared before the throne, twisting, howling, flashing, and turning. And when the wind was no more, there stood tall in front of Father a form, a rainbow of color, in the image and likeness of Father, but in the shape of man. All of heaven became quiet again as they all gazed in amazement and wonder at what Father had just made. Father looked around at all his children and all of his creation, declaring joyfully,
This is truly my best work.
and all of heaven erupted in a party-like fashion celebration. Lightning and thunder also joined in the festivities. All were dancing, singing, and shouting, "He is good, and all he does is good." For all the things you do in heaven and on the earth, for all the things you do in heaven and on the earth, for all the things you do in heaven and for the earth, for all the things you do in heaven and for the earth. You've done so many wondrous things, oh God, we cannot deny. Everywhere we turn, we see your goodness. I've seen it with my own eyes. Oh, and every time you come my way, you shine your glory all around me. And Lord, I ask the question, how did you first love me? Oh, then Father, looking at his new creation, laughed in excitement, saying,
Now is the time for you to go into the earth.
Then Father placed his creation upon his lap and said tenderly,
And take heart. I will come down and see you, and we'll spend much time together. I will also guide you when you call for me, and what adventures we will have. You have a very special purpose on the earth, considering all that you've been given. Well then,
Father placed his creation in front of him, looked deeply into his eyes, and gave a big smile and said,
time starts now.
The shape of man awakened upon the earth.